Welcome back. We found the treasure, but so far we have not yet found the murderer, which is, after all, our main goal. And there are not an awful lot of suspects left. Quite a lot of people have already died. I think we can go into the chapel now. And find Celie here at 1:30 a.m. Seems like a perfectly normal time to go to a chapel. Celie sits in a pew before the pulpit, her head bent in fearful prayer. What are you doing here, girl? Something mighty terrible is happening. Evil spirits all around us. I think we're gonna die before this night is over. I certainly don't hope so. Pray, child, pray. Maybe the good Lord will show some pity on us and help us. Celie is in deep prayer. She pays no more attention to you. Well, I guess we can do what she's said and pray. Suddenly feeling pious, you kneel at the pulpit and pray. As far as I know, this is completely optional. You don't need to do it to get the best score or anything. But you can, in case you feel so inclined. Or if you want to show it off for a YouTube video, as in my case. Now, if I'm not mistaken... Yes. You see Rudy walking distractedly around the estate. He seems very agitated. Something's wrong, I can feel it. I don't understand what's going on around here. Where is everybody? They're all dead, like we've tried to tell you. You try to warn him, but he doesn't seem to be paying any attention to you. He doesn't pay any attention to me before, so why would he now? Go on, leave me alone. I've got some searching to do. I wonder what he's searching for. Get out of here, now! Rudy refuses to talk to you anymore. He's too preoccupied by other thoughts. I wonder what's got him so agitated. Maybe he killed all those people. That would get me agitated. I think I know where Lillian is. She's supposed to be in here, if I'm not... that's what I meant. Yes! Lillian is indeed in the dollhouse, or playhouse, or whatever you want to call it. We have a visitor, darlings. Sit up straight now. Lillian? Are you feeling alright? Lillian is acting very bizarre. Not only is she playing with the old dolls, but she's treating them as if they were alive. She barely notices you. Lillian? Our visitor is talking to us. Pay attention now. What? We don't want any visitors? This sounds bad. Oh, we don't want anybody to know our secret. Our visitor will have to leave. You'll have to go. We don't want to play with you right now. Lillian, you're scaring me. Maybe if we ignore her, darlings, she will go away. Hush. Lillian is lost in her own world. She doesn't seem to even notice you anymore. What's this on the board? That wasn't there before. You see a small chalkboard on the wall. Strange, there are 7 tally marks on it. 7 tally marks. And there have been 7 murders tonight. Gertie, Wilbur, Ethel, Gloria, Jeeves and Fifi, and finally Clarence. Lillian is the murderer, it seems. It seems her paranoia over people coming between her and the Colonel caused her to completely snap. Well, that's not a good thing, to put it mildly. Maybe we can tell someone. Well, that pretty much leaves only the Colonel and Rudy, or Celie, I guess, but Celie is deep in prayer. She probably doesn't want us to interrupt. Now, the Colonel is probably the best option. He should be the one we tell. I haven't seen him for a while, though, so... Is he in his room? No. Maybe he is in Lillian's room. Our room. No. Rudy is, though. And so is the beginning of Act 8. I wonder what Rudy's doing here. Continuing his search, probably. If only we knew what he was actually searching for. That would make things a lot easier. We may even know where it is. Maybe he's looking for one of the things we picked up. He's definitely looking for something. He's looking under the bed. I don't know. I don't think there's anything under the bed. Rudy appears to be frantically searching for something in your room. He seems to be very upset. Beat it, kid. This ain't none of your business. Our friend just killed everybody here. I think whatever you're doing is our business. Did you hear me? If you know what's good for you, you'll leave me alone right now. Rudy ignores you as he continues his seemingly futile searching. Rudy, you're just being an ass. I mean, just because you aren't actually the murderer, don't think I suddenly like you or anything. Can we tell him about Lillian? Leave me alone, I'm busy right now. Of course not. I mean, that would actually make sense. But hey, Act 8. You know what that means. It means we can do the same thing we do in every act. Give a cracker to Polly. Or try to take over the world? No. You give a cracker to the parrot. Gotta get the gun! Get the gun! Ah! So somebody wants to get the gun. Who wants to get the gun? No. We've already seen that it was missing. But we don't know. None of the murders so far have been committed with a gun, so... I doubt it's Lillian. Wait, what? Beauregard is here. Beauregard seems agitated about something. Maybe you should investigate. Beauregard doesn't look like he's in a good mood. Well, okay. There seems to be a note on the door. You read the note. It says, "Meet me in the hedge garden." Oh no, a sudden gust of wind blows away the note. Very conveniently timed blast of wind. Maybe that's what Beauregard is so agitated about. Who's gonna meet who in the hedge garden? Well, there's only a couple people left on this island, so... logically, it should be one of them. Oh my god. Oh no! Someone has shot Lillian to death in the hedge garden. Quite afraid now. You feared greatly for your own life. But Lillian was the murderer, so then... who? Well, I can't believe Celie did it, so that leaves the Colonel or Rudy. This is not good. You can tell by looking at her that Lillian died of a gunshot wound to the chest at point-blank range. Huh, this is strange. For some reason, Lillian is dressed in an old army officer's cape, hat, gloves, and boots. Well, that confirms that she was the one walking around in that outfit we saw the shadow of sometimes, and that she is the murderer, as we thought. But we have another murderer, the one who killed Lillian. With trembling hands, you examine Lillian's body and see the horrible gunshot wound to her chest area. What's this? You suddenly find a skeleton key in a pocket of the old army cape. Since it may be useful, you take it with you. A skeleton key? What could that be for? What else is here? You notice the silver derringer lying on the ground near Lillian's feet. I wonder why the murderer left that here. As you stoop to pick up the derringer, your eye happens to fall upon a bullet not far from Lillian's hand. Oh yeah, there it is. Let's get that too. Okay. And let's load that gun, because with another killer on the loose, we can't be too careful. We have to find the Colonel. He's probably the only one who's even remotely willing to listen to us, assuming he's not the one who just killed Lillian, but that seems unlikely to me. Poor Beauregard. Oh. Have to walk against that one. You hear scuffling upstairs. Scuffling? Colonel? Rudy? Sully? The horse? Probably not. You hear scuffling further upstairs. The attic. Maybe that's what the skeleton key is for. Huh. Because there's a door that we have never been able to unlock from that side. But I first want to see here. The Colonel definitely isn't here. His wheelchair is, though. The elevator is upstairs, because we don't see any chain. So maybe he is upstairs. But what is also here? Someone has left the doctor's bag open on the floor. The contents are a mess inside. It looks as if someone has hurriedly searched through it. Well, Rudy was looking for something. Could it have been that bag? It has been missing for most of the game, so perhaps. I wonder where he found it, if that is the case. Well, let's see if we can open this door with our key. Using the skeleton key, you unlock the attic door. So that's how Lillian was able to get in there to get those cloves. Well, I wonder what we'll find. Oh no! Colonel Dijon and Rudy are in the midst of a fierce struggle. You see a hypodermic needle between them, and it's impossible to tell which of the two men is the aggressor. This is indeed a dangerous situation. Indeed it is, and we have to make a decision. What do we do? Nothing? Or shoot Rudy? Or shoot the Colonel? Well, of the two of them, it's Rudy that I trust the least. I think he's been searching for the bag. I think he got the needle from there, and he's trying to finish off the Colonel so he can have that inheritance now all for himself, since everybody else is dead. Lillian helped him with that, but he now wants to finish the job. So I'm going to shoot Rudy. You have shot and wounded Rudy. Indeed. Let's see. I hope I made the right choice. Thank you, young lady. Laura, that was some mighty fine shooting for a gal. I guess I owe you my life, don't I? Why, my nephew was trying to kill me with poison in one of Wilbur's hypodermic needles. Oh, it's terrible what's been happening here tonight. I invite everyone here to tell them about my will, and they end up killing each other over it. Well, you kind of could have expected that. Truthfully, I was keeping my eye on everyone in the house tonight, or so I thought. I didn't see any of the murders. It wasn't until I met Rudy in my bedroom that he told me what had happened. I couldn't believe it. He told me that my niece Lillian had finally gone totally berserk, and out of her crazy jealousy was killing everyone that she thought had gotten between her and me. She managed to just about murder everyone until she attacked Rudy with my derringer. Rudy managed to wrestle the gun from her and in self-defense killed her instead. My nephew, seeing as how everyone else was already dead, decided to finish the job by killing me with a hypodermic needle and say I died of a heart attack induced by the terrible deeds that my niece had done. I can't stand much more of this. Laura, please find Celie and tell her to fire one of the signal rockets that we use to summon help in emergencies. There it goes. The next morning, I somehow knew that one day Rudy would run afoul of the law. Well, it seems he's still alive, though. You've been a loyal servant to me for many years, Celie, and both Beauregard and Blaze trust you. I have decided to leave all my money to you, provided you take care of my animals for the rest of their lives. Of course, sir. Can't think of nothing else I'd rather do. Thank you, sir. Miss Bow, I know you found an old Civil War treasure on my estate. How the hell does he know that? Since you so bravely saved my life, I'll let you keep every dime of it for yourself, as a reward. That's nice of him. Thank you, Colonel Dijon. That's very kind of you. You know, Beauregard, people are funny creatures. They're greedy, they're rude, they're selfish. That's why we live way out here, to get away from them. But we couldn't get away from them completely, could we, boy? No, not completely. But everything will be okay now. Except for the fact that your entire family is dead. The end. Let's see. How did I do? Super Sleuth. Which means I did everything, saw all of the clues I needed, got all of the evidence. Nothing I missed. Did everything when I was supposed to do it. And we can review our notes, finally, at the end of the game, to see what we did. If you didn't get to Super Sleuth, reviewing your notes will tell you where you're missing things, allowing you to figure out what you need to do better next time. So let's see, we befriended Celie by finding the necklace and giving it to her. We took food items from the kitchen, which was the meat we used for Beauregard, Celie's cabin, and Jeeves' room, the crackers for Polly. And Celie's cabin was the carrot for Blaze. We took a useful item from the body of Lillian, the skeleton key. From Clarence Sparrow, the matches. And from Dr. Wilbur C. Fields, the monocle. We found people murdered. Lillian, shot by Rudy. Ethel Prune, Gertie Dijon, Gloria Swansong, Clarence Sparrow, Dr. Wilbur C. Fields, Jeeves, and Fifi, all killed by Lillian. We found secret entrances and exits in the dining room, the downstairs hallway, upstairs hallway, billiard room, hedge garden, basement, library, parlor, Clarence's and Rudy's room, Gertie's and Gloria's room, my room, and the Colonel's room. So if you didn't actually use all of the panels to go in and out of the secret passages, this will not be complete. And if something is not complete, it will actually say incomplete at the bottom, so you know that it's not complete. You don't have to guess about that. But we did find and use all of them, including the extra ones like the ones to the basement. Objects used more than once. The crackers used every act. The crowbar I used to open a few things. The diary, the oil can, and the monocle. We took an object from the suitcase of Lillian, namely her diary. And we took a pouch of jewels, which we found, the Civil War treasure. We discovered the Bible listing the family history. And we closely investigated, using the monocle, the boot print in the mud, sleeping powder bottle, the handkerchief, the rolling pin, the fireplace poker, the broken record, the glass, the cognac decanter, I think we did that one several times, the diary, and the cigar butt. So you have to look at all of those closely, otherwise you will not get that coveted Super Sleuth ranking. People with gambling habits, Rudy Dijon, Clarence Sparrow, and Dr. Wilbur C. Fields. We found that out by overhearing a number of conversations. Clarence Sparrow and Dr. Fields were the ones who embezzled money from the Colonel to invest in that racehorse. We also found that out by overhearing it. We discovered that the Colonel smells of cigars, Lillian smelled of perfume, and Clarence Sparrow smelled of his cigarettes. I think they were cigarettes. And Fifi smelled of perfume as well. And we smelled perfume in the secret passage as well as... I think we found a cigar there, as well as boot print. We also discovered that Ethel didn't want to say something. This was about that land she owned, I think. Yeah, refusing to sell something. That's what it says. So yeah, that's about the land she didn't want to sell. We found out that the Colonel was involved with Fifi. Gloria was involved with Clarence. They kind of broke up with him, but anyway. And Jeeves was involved with Fifi for real. Probably the two of them wanted to get into the will. That's why Fifi was doing the stuff she was doing with the Colonel. Gloria wanted to end her affair with Clarence. And we found out about embarrassing medical history, which I think is meant to imply that she had a kid. I'm not entirely sure about that. There's a few objects that we found somewhere and later discovered were missing, such as the derringer, the dagger, the cognac decanter, and the doctor's bag. Most of the bodies ended up in the basement, and people who struggled physically include Colonel Dijon, Rudy Dijon, Clarence Sparrow, and Fifi. Colonel Dijon had a surprising secret because he could walk. And by the smell and the cigar and the cane, I think as well, actually, we discovered that both the Colonel and Lillian were using the secret passages during the course of the game. Lillian is the one who murdered the most people. Weirdly, if you do not shoot Rudy at the end, this is the one that will show up as being incomplete. Even if you do know that Lillian was the one who murdered the most people, the game will think you don't if you kill the Colonel at the end, which is kind of weird. Time of first visit to the attic, 9:45, which you have to do by that time. If you do it later, the clothes will already be missing. And that is all. And that ends the Colonel's Bequest. Congratulations, you have attained the highest possible sleuth rating. The curtain will now fall. We hope you enjoyed the performance. Well, I don't know about you guys, but I did quite enjoy it. The Colonel's Bequest is a very unusual game, as it is all about observing what happens, paying attention to what everyone is doing, and figuring out what is going on around you. Traditional adventure game puzzles, while there are still a few, such as those related to the treasure, aren't the main focus of this game. The game is tremendously helped by its atmosphere. The creepy mansion surrounded by a swamp is wonderfully realized and pushes the limits of EGA graphics. The soundtrack is memorable and at times haunting, and all this contributes to give the game a real feeling of mystery and suspense. Unfortunately, what lets the game down are its characters and writing. While there are numerous conversations to be overheard for each character, they are all essentially defined by a single stereotype, and most of what you learn is a red herring that has nothing to do with the actual murders. None of the characters' motivations are particularly complex, and none of them show any kind of development. Lillian as the murderer was a nice twist, but even she doesn't have any real motivation beyond her apparent mental health issues, which are never really explained. The game also claims at the start that it wants you, the player, to feel like you're part of the story, but you really aren't. Except at the very end, all Laura does is observe. She doesn't influence anyone or anything, and even seems to have a curious lack of reaction to her best friend being a serial killer. Laura is nothing more than the avatar through which we see events unfolding, with little part in the story and little personality of her own. One thing the game got right though, and it's probably the only Sierra game to do so, is the replayability. It's hard to make this game unwinnable. You can probably get to the end on your first try, a few deaths notwithstanding of course, but you won't know what's actually going on. The notebook and hints given at the end give you a good idea of how to do better next time around, and that's a really nice way of handling that in my opinion. Despite not being the best whodunit ever written, the atmosphere and unique gameplay this game has still makes it very enjoyable to me. It tried to do something very different than traditional adventure games, which makes it a very memorable game. Memorable enough to warrant a sequel, since Laura will be back in The Dagger of Amun-Ra.